There is the stream. It's loading onto the channel now. The audio is working, the stream's up, the chat's up, we're all good to go. Fantastic. Hello everyone, and welcome to round 7 of the PlayStation America series here on Race Spec Esports. I'm Lane Everingham, your commentator for this event, and before we go into proceedings, there is an announcement to make. This week we were supposed to be racing at Sochi Autodrome for the Russian Grand Prix, but in light of recent real-world events, a decision was made on Friday to replace the event location. Voted by the Race Spec admin team, the circuit to serve as a replacement for Sochi is, as you can tell, Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya for the Spanish Grand Prix. A wet Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya, it seems. The 2.89-mile, 16-turn circuit was built in 1991 and has been the scene of some pretty awesome moments in Formula One history. Unfortunately, this doesn't compensate the circuit's poor real-life reputation of producing rather dull racing. This is mostly due to most corners here are high speed, making it very difficult for cars to follow one another. Fortunately for us in the virtual world, the circuit's nature and reputation is almost completely flipped compared to its real-life counterpart. The racing tends to be pretty good here, with 2 DRS zones that lead into turns 1 and the now non-existent hairpin of turn 10. You may also see some action into turns 4 and 5 as well. In terms of hazards, the drivers must be wary of the inside auto-spin curbs of turns 2 and 11. Turns 7 and 8 can be a tricky complex to go through. And finally, the fast right-hander of turn 9. It's arguably the most dangerous part of the circuit, and it's the part that JBH is going through right now. Cars are right on the edge of grip, so it's very easy to lose control and end up having a meet and greet with a barrier, especially in these sort of weather conditions. With it being a relatively small circuit, qualifying should hopefully be fairly close. But before we focus on qualifying, there is a bit of news to go through first from last week's race at Spa. There were 3 incident reports, 2 of which came back as no further action. One of which involves Rafixa at turn 1 at Spa on the opening lap, when he crashed into several cars, resulting in quite a bit of damage. He was given a 15-second time penalty and 3 penalty points, but seeing as he didn't actually finish the race, the time penalty is sort of redundant. But those 3 penalty points will go against his name. So essentially the results stand from last week. Looking at the Drivers' Championship, KD is still leading on 109 points, followed by Mighty Wombat on 100, so only 9 points separating the top 2. Renner Jr. is third on 93, followed by Rafa in P4, JBH P5, then Noah P6, Darlato P7, Oscar Toll in 8th, Lake Show in 9th, and Sir Jake rounds out the top 10. In the Constructors, Mercedes are leading on 166 points, followed by Aston Martin on 140. Alfa Romeo are third on 127, closely followed by Williams on 123. The rest of the table looks like Ferrari in P5, Alpine in P6, Red Bull in P7, Haas in P8, AlphaTauri in P9, and McLaren at the bottom of the table in P10. Now, I think I did get a weather report. For the race, it should be dry but overcast with a 15% chance of rain. So these are the only wet weather conditions we'll see in the entire session, which is fantastic. Because wet weather racing isn't the most entertaining to watch. But hello Heat. Hello Vera, hello, welcome to the chat, hope you enjoy the stream. As KD jumps up to the top of the table with a 1 minute 30.5. Now KD will be looking to recover from last week's race at Spa, where he crashed out while fighting for the lead. Crashed out at the top of Radion, if I remember correctly. He was one of 3 drivers who retired from the event. I believe it was 3. He's still very much our championship leader, as I mentioned earlier, but the gap between him and Mighty Wombat has closed up a fair bit. Speaking of which, Mighty Wombat's gone 7th fastest with a 31.4. Lake Show's at the top of the table currently with a 30 flat. He's on pole position by a good half a second. It's quite a big gap, I have to say. Drivers more than likely will just be setting practice laps at this point, getting ready to really send it at the end of the qualifying session. In these sort of conditions, lap time is important, getting laps on the racetrack, as Icedev has been disqualified for driving the wrong way. So Icedev will be starting from the back of the field then in 18th place. But yeah, experience is everything in these sort of conditions. So the more laps you do, the better off you'll be towards the end of qualifying. So, SP Jaber here is coming around the final corner. Car right in front of him, that's Icedev, who's not in control of that car. As Lake Show has crashed out at turn 12. The exit of turn 12. Let's see here, find the nearest Red Bull. To him, it must be Rafa. So coming around turn 12, where is Lake Show? There he is. He's lost the back end at the exit of turn 12 and he's hit the barrier on the right-hand side of the racetrack. Quite easy to do in these conditions, I imagine. You've got very, very little grip. So all it takes is just that little bit too much throttle, that little bit too much steering input. And around goes the car and you've got no control to try and gather it back up. Rafa here has just started a flying lap, so we'll give you a tour of the racetrack. Into turns 1 and 2, be quite careful at turn 2. That inside curb can be quite nasty. Around turn 3, this corner is flat out in the dry. Definitely not flat out as you can see in the wet. Up towards turn 4, not a bad overtaking spot here. We'll probably see some drama at the beginning of the race. It's a nice exit here out to the right-hander around the hairpin of turn 5. Now not a bad overtaking spot as well here at turn 5. Might see some battling through the hairpin. Around the kink of turn 6 into turn 7 and 8. You have to be a bit careful here. Very easy to gather warnings through that section. And now into the notorious turn 9. It's very easy to lose the back end, but Rafa keeps control of the car. He's heading up to the middle sector split and he's down by just over half a tenth. Exiting turn 10 sideways, he makes his way around 11 and 12. Have to be very careful on the throttle here, as Rafa demonstrates pretty nicely. Around turn 13, then into the worst chicane in Formula 1, turns 14 and 15. It's a horrible, horrible chicane. Around turn 16, the final corner, back onto the main straightaway. Rafa will set a 31.3. He lost a fair bit of time in the final sector when we saw him lose the back end. KD has put it into the wall as well, it seems. He's missing a front wing on that Mercedes-Benz, so he'll get back to the pits, repair the car, then get back out again. Noah, I think, has just started a flying lap, making his way through turns 1 and 2. Now around turn 3. I think Sir Jake has just jumped up to P6 as well with a 30.8. Heading up to the first sector split around turn 4. Nice and steady in 4th gear. Snake and Beans has been disqualified for blocking the pit lane. Oh, as Noah loses the back end there, but catches it well. So 2 drivers getting disqualified during this qualifying session. One for driving the wrong way, the other for blocking the pit lane. Noah comes out of turn 8, up the hill around turn 9. 7th gear, nice and gentle on the throttle. It's a nice run out of the right-hander. The clock says he is... Oh, he hasn't set a time, so there's no delta, obviously. So we'll see how competitive he is once he completes this flying lap. But he did a 58.8 to the middle sector. Coming around turn 13, then into the chicane of 14 and 15. So they're being nice and gentle with the car, avoiding the curbs. Oh, being very careful on the exit there of the chicane, being very careful on the exit of the final corner. Noah comes up to the control line and jumps up to P9 with a 1 minute 31.199. Now, with it being dry in the race, a lot of people are running dry setups which won't be ideal to use in these sort of conditions, as JBH, he's on the intermediate tyre. So trying to gamble. Instead of going on the full wets, he's on the inter. So Jake, he's just improved to a 30.6. Stays P6. Black Baller, I think he was purple there to the middle sector. Coming through 11 and 12. See, they're modulating the throttle quite nicely. Short shifting there to find the traction. Nice and tidy from the McLaren driver. Down the hill through turns 14 and 15. You can see being very steady, almost crawling his way through the chicane. No hint of oversteer though from that McLaren. It looks very stable in these conditions. Coming up to the line, Black Baller jumps up to pole position with a 1 minute 29.806. Mighty Wombat has just started a flying lap and he's on the intermediate tyre. So I suppose the conditions are improving here in Catalonia. I don't think the track will dry up completely at the end of qualifying. I don't think we have enough time. But seems like a few drivers, they believe the conditions are improving, and according to the first sector split there from Mighty Wombat, the conditions are improving. He's up by 0.2 of a second in the first sector. Pretty healthy improvement considering there's only 4 corners. Actually, no, it's only 3 corners in that first sector. Through turn 7, then turn 8, up the hill towards turn 9. Nice and steady in 5th gear, short shifting, again to find traction. Down towards the middle sector split. The clock says he's up by 0.8. He's set a 57.9 to the middle sector. Through the final sector now, through 11, through 12. Nice and easy, not letting the car lose control. Nice run there. Through turn 13. Again, the car looking very stable. Using a healthy amount of curb, not too much, but just enough to find a little bit of extra speed. Around the final corner, a Ferrari has spun out. Up towards the line, Mighty Wombat now takes pole position, setting a 1 minute 29.623, beating Black Baller by just under 0.2. He's just gone back into his pit box. Sir Jake is up in the middle sector by 0.5 of a second. With that sort of improvement, he can overtake Lake Show, who was out of qualifying after crashing out at this very corner, and Sir Jake almost does the same. And he backs out of his lap. He's probably going to go back into the pit lane. KD, he's on the full wet tyre, and he's up by 0.8 of a second to the first sector. He's currently just under 1 second behind pole position, so I don't think you would want to be on the wet weather tyre anymore. I think it's time to hop onto the intermediates, just based off what Mighty Wombat has been able to do. But we'll see what KD can do here in the middle sector. He won here last season in some very tricky conditions. It was his only win that season? Or did he get 2 wins? I'm going to have to look up the archives to try and work that out. The KD is up by 0.4 of a second to the middle sector. Needs to find a few more tenths here in the final sector though. Around turn 12, nice and easy on the exit. Around turn 13, down the hill, into the chicane, nice and gentle. Short shifting there as Mighty Wombat improves to a 28.195. That's the biggest indication that it's definitely intermediate conditions. KD crosses the line and goes 5th fastest, setting a 30.1, but it's definitely intermediates now. Drivers better bolt them on. JBH, he's got the inters fitted. Noah's got the wets fitted. I reckon he'll duck into pit lane after seeing what time Mighty Wombat has put on the board. There's no point staying out on these tyres. They just won't give you any pace. Will he duck back in? No, he stays out. Why stay out? You've seen the time Mighty Wombat's done. 28.2. You might as well get on these tyres. Definitely seem like the better ones. JBH making his way down the main straight, down towards turns 1 and 2 at 300 kilometers an hour. Down to 4th gear, down to 3rd gear in fact, around turn 2, then turn 3. Nice modulation of the throttle there, no braking at all. Up towards turn 4. The first sector split says he's up by 6.5 tenths of a second. The conditions are definitely improving. Up and around turn 5, the hairpin, second gear. Carries second all the way around the hairpin, doesn't bother to short shift. Into turn 7 and 8, there's a slow McLaren in front. It's Shizant and gets out of the way rather well. Does a bit of lawn mowing, but he gets out of the way. Around turn 9, carrying quite a healthy amount of speed down towards the middle sector split. Clock says JBH is up by 1.6 seconds. Exiting the hairpin. Around turn 11, into turn 12. Brings it down to third gear for turn 12. Uses a little bit of inside curve. Around turn 13, back down to third gear. Then he'll drop it down to second for the hairpin. For the chicane. Oh, a bit of a wiggle on the exit around turn 16. Up towards the control line, JBH jumps up to pole position, beating Mighty Wombat by 0.04 of a second. There's yellow flags about. It's Laquito who has spun at turn 12. Drivers need to get on the inters right now. So Jake is on them. He's currently P7 with a 30.1. Black Ball is getting ready to set what could be his final flying lap. We only have 2 minutes left in qualifying. SP Jaber, P4. His teammate Darlotto has jumped up to pole position, setting a 1 minute 27.835. So, from the looks of things, the way the conditions are evolving, whoever gets pole position would likely be the driver who times their run the latest, when they have the most ideal conditions to set their lap time. It's going to be tricky to get the timing right, but that's going to be a key factor in determining who gets pole position. Ideally, you want to cross the line with 1 second left on the clock. That would be the most ideal. Obviously, that's a bit too difficult to do. JBH looks like he's preparing himself to set another flying lap. He's charged up his batteries. His tyres might be a bit cold, so he's got to be careful. And he gets out of the way of the Haas there. That's Sir Jake. That would have been a bit awkward, but at least he got out of the way. And, yeah, losing the back end there. His tyres are very cold. He has to be very careful. So Jake jumps up to P4, setting a 1 minute 29.238. JBH making his way down the main straightaway towards turn 1. Darlotto is qualifying. Isn't quite over just yet. He's getting ready to set one more flying lap with 32 seconds left on the clock. Oh, but he has a wiggle at the final corner. That will hamper his lap time quite a bit. JBH making his way around turn 4. He's up by 1/10 of a second in the first sector. Mighty Wombat making his way through the middle sector now, the beginning of the middle sector. He's currently P3 with a 28.1. Black Baller making his way around as well for his final flying lap. Silent Banshee has jumped up to P7 with a 29.9 on the wet weather tyre. Jaber's session is done. The best he can hope for is P6. Renner is up by 1/10 of a second in the first sector. KD, his session is finished as well. So the best he can hope for is P10. See here, Black Baller down by 1/2 a second to the first sector. Mighty Wombat is purple to the middle sector. And JBH has spun. And he rejoins right in front of Mighty Wombat. Hopefully he didn't provide too much of a distraction. Darlotto's session is done, so can Mighty Wombat take pole position away from Darlotto. Sir Jake goes for fastest with a 28.5. Mighty Wombat exits the final corner, crosses the line. It's not enough. It's P2 for the Williams driver with a 1 minute 27.959. Black Baller enters the pit lane. His session is done. Renner coming around the final corner. Can they improve? They're currently P9. Up towards the line. Renner Jr. jumps up to P4. Setting a time 2 seconds quicker than their previous best. setting a 1 minute 28.167. And I think that's qualifying over. Star Lotto on pole position. Mighty Wombat alongside on the front row. Now it'll be interesting to see what the drivers do in terms of strategy if it is a dry start and if it's dry all the way through. I imagine a few drivers would like to start on the medium tyre as it gives you quite a bit of flexibility. The recommended strategies here is either soft medium or medium soft. That's pretty much the only two strategies you can do here, because the hard tyre is rubbish. Around Spain, you want to avoid it at all costs. Here at the end of qualifying, Star Lotto on pole position with Mighty Wombat P2, JBH is third, followed by Renner Jr., Sir Jake is fifth, then Black Baller, SP Jaber, then Silent Banshee, Lake Show, and KD. That's the top 10. Then we got Rafa, Noah, Shizant, Laquito, Psycho, Flavius, and two drivers getting disqualified during qualifying, Snake and Beans and Ice Dev. They'll be starting from the back of the field in P17 and 18 for the race. Now, the two previous races I've commentated, which is Pacific Elite and Pacific Tier 1, I have not seen a single safety car yet. I don't know if fate will follow itself here in Barcelona, or whether we finally get to see the safety car. Because, just based off my experiences of this racetrack from F1 2019 and F1 2020, safety cars tend to be pretty common here. And I've just seen two races back to back with no safety cars. Not even a single VSC. Not a single virtual safety car. Slightly overcast, as you can see in the top left. There's a slight grey filter over the racetrack. So track temperatures would be a bit lower compared to nice, bright, sunny conditions. That shouldn't affect the drivers too much, though. Drivers are lining up on the grid, getting ready to start the formation lap, and I can see a few drivers on the mediums. Quite a few drivers on the mediums. If we get rid of the interval and bring up the tyre graphic, let's see who's on what. And there you go. Basically everybody on the mediums, bar three drivers. We'll run through the whole order as it is. See who's on what. So we've got Dar Lotto on pole position on the medium compound tyre. Mighty Wombat P2, he's also on the mediums. Same with JBH in P3, Renner Jr. P4, Sir Jake in P5, Black Baller in P6, and SP Jaber in P7. Silent Banshee will start P8. He's the first driver starting on the soft compound tyre. He'll be looking to be nice and aggressive at the start. He's got Late Show and KD, the two Mercedes-Benzes behind him, in P9 and 10. They're starting on the medium compound tyre. We have Rafa P11 starting on the soft tyre. Same with Noah in P12. Then the rest of the field, Shizant in P13, Laquito P14, Psycho P15, Flavius in P16, Snake and Beans and Ice Dev in P17 and 18. They're all starting on the medium tyre. So we've got 15 on the mediums and 3 on the soft tyre. With the medium compound tyre, it just gives you a great deal of flexibility. The medium tyre, you can stretch the tyre out, so you can do a medium soft race if there's no safety cars. Or alternatively, if there's an early safety car, you can hop onto the hard tyre and go to the end. So that's what the medium tyre provides. Be interesting to see what all the drivers do in terms of strategy. A very healthy field of 18 cars. That's really good to see. And hello, chat. Hello, Saint. Hello, Prezzo. Hello, Microsoft Lag 2.0. Welcome, welcome. Hope you enjoy the show. Hopefully we have a nice, entertaining race here in Spain. Everyone's lining up into their grid slots, getting ready for the race start. Just been waiting on Ice Dev to line up into his grid slot. The leaders there ready to go. We got Dar Lotto on pole position. He has Mighty Wombat alongside. Who will lead the field down into turn 1? Well, let's find out. We've got 10 red lights, and we are underway here in Spain. It's a nice start from Darlato, a poor start from Mighty Wombat. Look at him tumble down through the order. He's down to P6. There's 2 cars off the racetrack, and McLaren there off the racetrack in the back of shot. My goodness. Fortunately, there was no major incident there, but that was that was looking very nasty for a few moments. Around turn 3, up towards turn 4. What a shocking start from Mighty Wombat. As Silent Banshee trying to look down the inside there at turn 4. Gets it done. Wombat down to P6. He's got KD right behind. Oh, as Mighty Wombat goes into the back of the Ferrari through turn 5. KD tries to draw alongside. Can't quite get it done into turn 7. So Jake down in P9 at the moment. Late Show down to 12. So a few drivers losing out at the start. So Mighty Wombat down 4. So Jake down 4. SP Jaber down 4. Down 3 rather. It's KD. Moves himself up to P5. A bit of shuffling going on. A bit of contact as well at the hairpin. Oh, and a spinning car. It's Renner Jr. He is spun in the middle of turn 12. He rejoins down in 15th place. And Silent Banshee gets a 10-second time penalty for corner cutting as he ducks into pit lane. That's a dramatic start. Fairly long train of cars here in the midfield. The leaders have broken away. Rafa's overtaken his teammate Laquita down into turn 1. Psycho and Flavius are battling. Snake and Beans is involved as well. He's made up a few places from the start. Yeah, Noah and Banshee, both of them in the pit lane. Interesting. The Silent Banshee is retired on track. He's had enough. And his car will come to a stop soon, hopefully. JVH attacking the race leader, Darlato, down towards the hairpin. Not quite close enough to attack here. The next lap will have DRS enabled. And we'll spice things up. Oh, that was awfully close. Between Darlato and JVH. Lake Show overtaking Jaber. He's into P7. Leaving himself in front of the Alpine. Rest of the field. Sort of got these groups forming up and down the order at the moment. A few drivers setting fastest laps. Seems that Mighty Wombat has got it with a 19.7. No one else has tried to beat it. A nice start from KD, starting in 10th place. He's made his way up to 4th already after just 3 laps. Got Black Baller right in front of him, who is currently occupying P3. Exiting turn 4 down towards turn 5. Big lock up there from one of the drivers in front, either Darlato or JVH. Flavius has overtaken Rafa for P12. And up and around turn 7 and 8, climbing up the hill towards 9. KD will get DRS, but so will Black Baller, I think. He'll just get it, yep. He'll get a bit of DRS assistance down this straightaway into the non-existent hairpin of turn 10. Through 11 into 12. Can't really do too much through this sector. Just have to follow the leader essentially. Try and not make any mistakes. Down the hill through the chicane of turns 14 and 15. Black Baller gets pretty decent drive out of the chicane. He'll get DRS as well, so KD won't be able to do too much as JBH is trying to attack the race leader. Down towards turn 1, he's got a run, but not quite close enough to try and make a move. As Lake Show is attempting a move on Sir Jake at turn 1. He's into P6, Shizant is into P9. These two head around turn 3. See their dirty air really affecting Jake's car, losing a couple of tenths through that one corner. Lakeshore, he's got a bit of work to do to catch up to the guys in front. The gap is 5 seconds between him and Mighty Wombat, who is on the back of this train. So we've got 5 cars, all battling for the lead. lap 4 of 33. I imagine strategy going to play a big part in this battle going on between these five. Be interested to see who decides to do medium soft, who decides to do medium hard. Bit of a wiggle there I saw from Darlato as Renner Jr. overtakes Laquito. Laquito fights back, it seems. And Renner's just lost 2 positions to Laquito and Shizen, as Mighty Wombat had a bit of a moment at the exit of the chicane. Here we go, a lot of weaving going on here out in front. Darlato trying to hang on to the lead. JBH and Black Ball are trying to overtake him, making it 3 wide at the entry to turn 1. JBH and Darlato have a bit of contact there through 2 into turn 3. The Ferrari gets in front. He takes the lead. Well, thank you very much, cameraman KD, giving us all these shots. As Darlato goes to the inside at turn 4. They're side by side on the exit as Darlato does a bit of lawn mowing as he loses the back end. Black Baller goes down the inside to try and take P2 away from the Alpine driver. And I believe he's done it. He's in front. Darlato has to slot to 3rd place. Around turn 9. I don't think anyone will try any moves here towards turn 10. Bit of weaving going on there from JBH. Around the hairpin they go. Pretty nice drive there from Black Baller. After that hairpin. Exiting turn 12. Up towards turn 13. And Black Baller, he will need to try and get a nice run out of the chicane. Trying to attack JBH. Though he doesn't really do that. He loses a couple of tenths actually from that chicane. He'll close in. Not using any battery though. Probably a wise thing to not dump any battery. Not at this stage anyway. So JBH hangs on to the lead through turn 2. Around turn 3. These 5 are very close to one another and Lake Show is closing in. He's only 3.8 seconds behind as Renner Jr. overtakes Shizen for P10. Psycho overtakes his teammate for P13. Down towards turn 5, the hairpin. JBH is still in front. Black Baller working away. It's a pretty nice run. Through turn 7, then turn 8. Only 3 tenths behind. He is close. I don't think he's close enough though. Doesn't get the greatest run out of turn 9 either. Into the hairpin. Turn 10. Nice and gentle with the car. Not using too much of the curves around the racetrack. They can be quite hazardous, the curbs, like on any racetrack. Through the chicane. Pretty nice and tidy there from Black Baller. He's closer, a lot closer than what he was before, and he knows it. He's dumping his battery, he's closing in at a rapid rate of knots, and he slingshots by the Ferrari to take the lead on lap 7. Through turn 1, then turn 2. JBH can't do much to fight back. Round turn 3. Laquito here seems to be under attack. Renner gets by rather easily into P9. Lake Show here is closing in. And I think Snake and Beans has had a moment at the exit of the final corner. Yes, he's only 3.2 seconds behind Mighty Wombat in 5th. Up and around. Turn 7 and 8 and a spin! Darlato and KD! I think there might have been a bit of contact, I'm not sure. As Darlato drops down to P6. Sir Jake is now right behind him. He'll like to get by. Using DRS, using his battery. Darlato covers the inside. Into the hairpin of turn 10. Darlato goes deep. Sir Jake gets the switch back. He's alongside. Oh, and Darlato cuts the racetrack and spins. Loses a bucket load of time. He drops behind Renner Jr. Noah has retired from... He's crashed. Noah has crashed. And we have a safety car. Now, these fellas don't decide to pit, but KD is in. He has a front wing change, so... KD and Darlato definitely made contact. But that could be because Darlotto spun in front of KD, and KD had nowhere to go. That's one option. Or KD hit Darlotto, who caused him to spin. It's one of those two scenarios. Shedden's in for soft tyres. Psycho has come into the pits as well. Hard tyres at the ready, so he'll be trying to go to the end on those. Not a bad strategy call. Flavius is on the hard tyre too. Snake and Beans has come in, and he's going very slowly into the pit lane. Well, at least he won't get a speeding penalty doing that. What will he do? He's on the mediums now. Will he pit for another set of mediums? Or a set of hards? Set of softs? Front wing change. See the missing end plate. On goes the new wing and a new set of medium compound tyres. Not a bad option. They're nowhere near as shocking as what the hard tyre is. Away goes Snake and Beans. What about the leaders? What do the leaders do? Black Baller's going in. JVH stays out. Mighty Wombat goes in. Same with Lake Show. What about Sir Jake? What's Sir Jake up to? Sir Jake is in. Jaber is in. Renner is in. So a few drivers electing to pit. A lot of drivers electing to pit. So Black Ball has gone on to soft tyres. Mighty Wombat onto hards. Double stack for Alpine as Jaber puts on the hard tyre. So we've got a bit of a mix going on in terms of strategy. It's very interesting to see. Now, just quickly doing something. There we go. So yeah, a very healthy mix. I wonder what it's like in the JVH mobile, because he's one of only a few drivers who haven't pit during the safety car period. Him, Ice Dev, who was in 5th, and Rafa, who pitted earlier, down in 13th place. Everyone else is boxed for new tyres, but we got such an interesting mix. Got Black Baller on the soft tyre, got Mighty Wombat on the hards, Lake Show on the mediums, KD's on the hard tyres, so Jake is on the hard tyre, the medium tyre rather, Jaber's on the hard tyre, Renner Jr.'s on the mediums, same with Liquito, Darlotto's on the hard tyre, Psycho's on the hard tyre, Flavius is on hard, Shizant in 15th's on the softs, and Snake and Beans is on the mediums. So we've got this whole mix of strategies going on. Some drivers trying to do a two-stop, some drivers trying to do the one-stop. Very healthy mix. JBH staying out. He's on old rubber. Going to be a bit of a sitting duck compared to those on fresh tyres. See if he can hang on at the front. So, best of luck to JBH. Probably going to need it. Yeah, he's now a pit stop behind some drivers, and he's on old rubber. But I suppose the one benefit he's got is track position. He's out in front. And who knows, we might have another safety car at some point as well. You see there, Liquito's got 5 seconds, Psycho has got 3. They're the only 2 time penalties at the moment, which is quite good, actually. We're closing in on the 1/3 mark. Only 2 drivers have penalties at the moment. Pretty good. See with the position changes, JBH up 2, Black Baller up 4, Mighty Wombat down 1, Lake Show up 5, Ice Dev up 13 because he hasn't pitted. KD up 4, Sir Jake down 2, Jaber down 1, Renner down 5, Liquito up 4, Darlotto down 10, There's a safety car that's quite late, and that's because Snake and Beans has just caught up to the train. So the safety car, rather a late manner, goes back into the pit lane. So JBH will control the field through the chicane. He'll decide when to go. His tyres up, getting them ready. Black Baller, he's getting ready to try and pounce on JBH. JBH goes. We're back on the green flag racing here in Barcelona. It's lap 11 of 33. Leaders are making their way down the main straightaway towards turn 1. Black Baller isn't close enough to attack KD. Looking down the inside of Icedev into turn 1. Through turn 2, he gets through around the outside. Into turn 3, so Jake has to try and get by Icedev now as Laquito overtakes Renner Jr. Jabo overtakes Sir Jake down the inside at turn 3. What's a nice move. I think Sir Jake had a bit of a moment through turn 3, and he's had a moment through turn 4 as well, as Darlotto gets by into P8. Oh, going around the outside goes... Oh, he's missing an end plate. I did not notice that. So Sir Jake has got a damaged front wing, and Rafa's off the circuit completely at the exit of turn 5. Chesant and Flavius are side by side through 7 and 8. Midfield are making their way around turn 9 as KD overtakes his teammate for P4. Looking down the inside, Psycho at turn 10. It's tight, very tight. So Jake hands on, but he needs to pit to get that front wing fixed. Through the chicane on 14 and 15. There goes the leaders. JBH still in front. Black Baller right behind. And here he comes. Doesn't need DRS. He's got a lot of momentum on his side as Sir Jake pits. Black Baller looking around the outside at turn 1. He'll have the inside line for 2. They're side by side. But JBH comes out on top. Credit where credit is due. He hangs on. Around turn 4. Around turn 5. McLaren isn't quite close enough to attack here. But those fresher tyres will have quite the edge compared to those warm mediums on the Ferrari. So Jake gets a 5-second penalty for crossing the pit lane exit white line, and here comes Black Baller using a whole heap of battery, draws alongside of the Ferrari into turn 10. Can he get the drive on the exit? He can, but so does JBH. They're side by side. They make contact, and JBH is off the racetrack, but he recovers nicely, only losing 1 position. Well, he's trying to get it back around the outside of Mighty Wombat at turn 13, and he takes back P2. A great bit of driving there from JBH. Around the final corner onto the main straightaway. The gap between Black Baller and JBH, 1.2 seconds. Mighty Wombat just behind, followed by KD and Lake Show. In hot pursuit in P4 and 5. Icedev overtakes Jaber. Here comes Laquito to take P8. He's looking down the inside here into turn 1. He shoves the nose in there and draws alongside. Icedev fights back though at turn 2. Around turn 3 they go. Icedev holds on to P7. Towards turn 4. Laquito isn't close enough to attack here. But Icedev is in a similar situation to JBH. He's on old tyres. Darlotto running a bit wide there. But this train of cars, once again, essentially, it is the exact same train of cars. Minus Darlotto. Though Darlotto isn't too far behind in P6. Only 2.7 seconds behind. Essentially, Lake Show and Darlotto have reversed roles. Around turn 12. KD working away on Mighty Wombat. Yellow flag's about. Icedev's off the circuit completely. And he gets a 5-second penalty for corner cutting as well, which is rather silly. Unless he cut turn 10, like actually cut turn 10, which I don't think he did. But, down the main straightaway, KD will overtake Mighty Wombat. Braking zone of turn 1. Now KD has his sights set on JBH, who has been unable to catch up to Black Baller. Yellow flags are about. That's Lake Show. He is spun at turn 2. He is back down to P6. And he's got more catching up to do. Hello, Renner. How are you doing? He's got the run, looking down the inside. Doesn't quite fire it down the inside. I thought Renner was going to have a go. No, Lake Show hangs on to P6. Just. He's got a lot of work to do. The gap between him and Darlotto is 5.8 seconds, and Renner not going to make it easy for Lake Show to catch up. Renner will have a whole heap of DRS to use. He's got a fair bit of battery as well at his disposal. So we'll have a new fight on our hands for P6, more than likely. Black Baller pulling away out in front on those soft tyres, but he has to make another pit stop. Those soft tyres won't make it. JBH, he has another stop to make. KD is set to go to the end as he's powering by JBH to take P2 away from the Ferrari. Laquito, a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings. It's just been added next to his name. JBH, it's probably best to just try and follow KD as best he can. That way you can make the most of the medium tyre with the help of DRS. Mighty Wombat will be closing in shortly. Those medium tyres will soon hit a cliff, and their pace will drop rather dramatically. In fact, I think they're starting to hit it now. Coming around turn 9 onto this back straightaway of sorts. Mighty Wombat's close, but not close enough. There's Darlotto in the back of shot, now 3.7 seconds behind. Without any DRS, Darlotto will have a hard time catching up. Just needs to get his head down, put the hammer down, try and set some consistent laps, try and catch up. JBH is going to be vulnerable as he loses the back end at the exit of the chicane, and here comes Mighty Wombat. He's got DRS, he's got the slipstream, he's using a bit of battery as well. And he powers by. Very simple pass from Mighty Wombat, he's into P3. A bit of a shocking run there from JBH through the opening 2 corners. Those medium tyres just don't have any grip as Jaber is into the pit lane. KD's closing in on Black Baller. Those soft tyres, how old are they already? 6 laps old. Even at only 6 laps old, they won't be feeling too great as Flavius has had a moment at turn 2. Those soft tyres will start to feel the burn. Tyre temperatures are quite a big deal here in Spain. They're quite a big deal at quite a few racetracks. But the soft tyre here in Spain, it's a great quality tyre, but that's about it. During the race, they burn up quite quickly as Istev is out of the race. He has crashed at turn 9. Look at that. And a safety car has been deployed. Well, isn't that the saving grace that JBH needed? There he is. How on earth has he done that? The 2 AlphaTauris were awfully close together. I'm just going to check. Yeah, look. Oh, as JBH gives himself a penalty. Oh, well done. Mighty Wombat and Darlotto are into the pits. They can put on the medium tyre and go to the end if they choose to, and I reckon that's exactly what they're going to do. But you can see here with Psycho, he's got a missing front wing, so the 2 AlphaTauris have come together. That would be my astute guess. And as a result, Psycho's got a missing wing and Istev is out of the race completely. Darlotto's onto medium tyres. JBH onto the soft tyre. Well, I suppose you will be spending a few laps on the safety car. You can theoretically get them to the end, but you're in very, very dangerous territory towards the end of the race. There's a green light on top of the safety car as well, so the drivers are instructed to pass the safety car. Don't stay behind it just yet. It's waiting for the leader. But, yeah, you'll be spending a couple of laps on the safety car, so... Oh, and Sir Jake has just been caught speeding, so he's got to drive through now. Well, that's less than ideal. And Sir Jake is off the... Oh! He's crashed. And he's out. On the safety car. I wonder if he's done that deliberately. Maybe he put it into the wall after getting that drive-through. I suppose we'll have to find out post-race. Black Baller is into the pit lane. KD stays out. What about Lake Show? I reckon Lake Show could pit. He doesn't. Neither does Renault. Neither does Laquita. They all rather have the track position than fresher tyres. Raffard's gone in. He's done 12 laps on the mediums. If he's got another set, which I think he should be able to chuck on the mediums and go to the end of the race, and that's exactly what he's going to do. There we go, away he leaves. No, this race keeps getting interesting. We've got some interesting strategies going on. We've got KD on the hard tyre, 9-lap-old hard tyres. We've got Lake showing P2 here on the screen on mediums. Same with Renner Jr. and Laquita up in fourth place. He's got a penalty next to his name, 3 seconds. 8 seconds next to his name. Woo-woo. And they're all on old mediums. The Black Baller in 5th place on fresh tyres. He's the highest placed driver on fresh tyres. Mighty Wombat in P6 on fresh tyres. JDH in P7 on fresh tyres, but he's on the soft compound tyre, so he's got a bit of saving to do over the course of the race. Those soft tyres are going to very much be in puncture territory. After about 10 laps or so, you're definitely in puncture territory. It was something I noticed in Pacific Tier 1. But with punctures, it's basically RNG. Down to the mercy of the game to when you get punctures, no matter how much tyre conservation you do. Darlotto's P8, he's on fresh rubber, same with Rafa in P9 and Shizen's in P10. Jada's on relatively fresh tyres. Snake and Beans is on old hards as Renner pits. Interesting. Well, he's going to lose a fair bit of track position thanks to that. But he's in. What tyres? Hards? Why? Oh, he's only used mediums. Look at that. Started on the mediums, put on mediums. He's put on the hard tyre now. Well, it gives you the best safety net to get to the end, because you don't have to worry about getting a puncture, unlike JBH. But yeah, those hard tyres won't feel great. They'll be fresh. And he's 10th. And with only 14 drivers left in the race, everyone will score points. So Renner had to make that pit stop because he hadn't met his mandatory tyre compound requirement. That's why he's pit. Has everyone else met those, out of curiosity? KD has. Lake Show hasn't. Neither has Laquito. And they haven't boxed. Right. That's strange. Because they're obviously going to try and stretch it so then they can get on the soft tyre and go to the end comfortably. Otherwise, they would have done what JBH has done. Everyone else, though, has met the tyre compound requirement, who was still in the race, as Icedev has left. So, Lake Show and Laquito, they've still got a stop to make. Safety car is in this lap. Tyre graphic for now. KD will control the field, so it's Mercedes-Benz 1-2, but Lake Show and Laquito, they're going to be a bit screwed. They've got another stop to make. And everyone else can theoretically go to the end. Or at least legally go to the end. KD sets off. And we're back under green flag racing here in Barcelona. And Lake Show is closing in. 1/10 behind. Doesn't go for the overtake though, rather wisely. Probably want to let his teammate get on with it as Renner Jr. overtakes Shizen for P9. Jaber gets a 3-second time penalty. Down towards turn 4. KD trying to pull away. He's got a 6/10 margin to his teammate now. Black Baller will be trying to get a move on, but he'll have Mighty Wombat right behind him on fresh tyres. Trying to attack him. Trying to get towards the front. Looking around turns 7 and 8. We have to be awfully careful through that section. around turn 9. No DRS available just yet. Have to wait a few more laps. Around the hairpin of turn 10. Wombat is very close, only 3/10 behind as they go through turns 11 and 12. Black Ball is awfully close to Laquito as well. Through the chicane of turns 14 and 15. I don't think anyone's really in a position to attack. Donalotto has made a mistake. But again, Rafa is close enough to attack. No one's in the right position to do anything just yet. Black Ball is closing in, but not by enough to attack Laquito into turn 1. As we've started lap 21 of 33, so we've got 13 laps to go. Around turn 3, the McLaren is close, and Darlato has had a moment. He spun. Goes into the middle of the racetrack and rejoins in P12. Make that potentially P13. Here comes Psycho. Take that position away. As Black Baller and Laquito are battling for position at turn 5 down the hill. Laquito has the inside line, but Black Baller gets through into 3rd place. Through turn 7, then turn 8. Black Baller's next target will be Lakeshore. Down towards the hairpin of turn 10. Laquito looking, but he was unable to try and attack into the hairpin. Around turn 11, then turn 12. See Mighty Wombat got a fair bit more pace on those fresher tyres. Laquito's just sort of stuck on those old mediums. He doesn't get a great run through the chicane either. He's going to be very vulnerable to Mighty Wombat as DRS is now enabled. JBH is close behind as well, using up a fair bit of battery. Pulls out of the slipstream, looking down the inside towards turn 1. Side by side entering the corner. And Laquito hangs it around the outside to keep P4. He's entitled to fight for position, even though he's got another stop to make. Though Mighty Wombat wouldn't care too much about that, as Starlotto, I think, is spun. Again, I think. I'm not sure. He lost a few positions there, I noticed. And Mighty Wombat will be screaming at Laquito, please get out of my way, I've got a race to potentially win. But Laquito, he's entitled to fight for that position. Got DRS now, Mighty Wombat, he's closing in, will he go for the send? The answer is no, he stays behind. Laquito missing the apex by a country mile there at turn 10, coming around turn 12 now. On the accelerator, Laquito gets a pretty decent run there at the exit of turn 12, down the hill towards turns 14 and 15. Laquito stays out for another lap as Mighty Wombat gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. He opens DRS, uses up his battery, pulls to the inside and overtakes the Red Bull with absolute ease. He's into P4. JBH closes in as well, but not by enough to try and overtake the Red Bull. Black Baller now just half a second behind Lakeshore. He'll be getting a healthy amount of DRS. That far behind. Darlato overtakes Psycho for P11. Psycho gets him back, it seems. And we've got yellow flags again. It's Darlato and Psycho who has spun. Get going again, but we've got a bit of drama going on at turn 2, it seems, with this final stage of the race. Laquito drops down the order. He's backwards. This is at turn 8. He needs it in gear. There we go. It's going again. He's now down in 10th place. Not sure if he was helped or if he did it by himself. And, oh dear, Snake and Beans is now in the wall. It's going again. His car looks okay. Here comes Psycho to overtake the stricken Williams into P13. Darlato overtakes Flavius now for P11. Mighty Wombat sets fastest lap with an 18.7. Jaber is closing in here on Shizant. So is Black Baller on Lakeshore. Not by enough though to attack. Meanwhile, KD's pulling away from his teammate. The gap is 2.3 seconds. Lakeshore is basically giving him a gift by staying in P2 for this long. Pushing back Black Baller. Not allowing the drivers on fresher tyres to try and attack. Try and close in on KD. There he is, the race leader. Then it's Lake Show, Black Baller, Mighty Wombat in P4. Black Baller will get DRS, but the straight isn't quite long enough to try and attack. Into turn 10. He gets close. Not close enough though. It's a very tidy run though through the hairpin. Through 11, then 12. Lake Show not getting the best of runs, and as a result the gap increases that little bit more. And probably the frustration in that McLaren cockpit is creeping up that little bit more as well, as Lake Show finally ducks into pit lane at the end of lap 24. The leader begins lap 25 of 33, so we've got 9 laps to go, and the gap is 3.7 seconds. So, Black Baller will need to close in at about 4/10 a lap. Quite the task, but he's got fresher tyres. He's on a better compound on the medium tyre compared to KD on the hard. It'll be an almighty task, that's for sure. We all know how quick KD is. Not too many battles going on, it seems. Chisholm and Jaber are close together. So is Lake Show and Darlotto. Lake Show just makes his way in front of the Alpine driver. Now he has to get those tyres up to temperature, but once they do, it's going to be awfully rapid on them. I don't think Darlotto will be able to do anything to try and attack Lake Show for position. His tyres will just be too good. Jaber's close. Not quite close enough to attack into turn 10. But if he can nail the final sector, Chisholm makes a mistake at turn 10. I'm pretty sure there was contact. I don't think Jaber has any damage. Well, visually speaking, I can't see anything, but we all know there's a visual glitch in the game where a car can have damage and the spectator can't see it, as Mighty Wombat takes P2 away from Black Baller. And we have yellow flags. It's Darlotto, I think. Yeah, he's had another moment. Oh, and he goes right in front of Flavius. Oh dear. Well, because of that little scrap between Mighty Wombat and Black Baller, the gap has increased to 4.1 seconds between KD and Mighty Wombat. Well, I reckon Black Baller would be a bit infuriated about this. He would notice that Mighty Wombat has a penalty next to his name. He would like him to stay behind and Black Baller try and catch up, but that's not how racing works. Wombat battling for position because he's entitled to. Who knows, he might be able to get that penalty removed. What has he got? He has got a 3-second time penalty. Who knows, he might be able to get a warning removed and keep second place at the end of the race, or alternatively pull away from Black Baller, build up a 3-second margin. But we've all been in Black Baller's position where we've got no penalties, we're trying to catch up, and the guy behind you with penalties is going that little bit quicker. And he battles you, and as a result you lose time. It's always infuriating. Black Baller's close, not close enough though to try and get P2 back. Meanwhile, KD's loving the fact that Mighty Wombat has just overtaken Black Baller. As I mentioned earlier, the battle resulted in KD pulling away that little bit more. And he doesn't have to worry about Wombat as he's got that 3-second time penalty. He's got a whole heap of clear track in front of him, look. It's all by him his lonesome, 4.2 seconds in front of the next car. Basically set to win unless he makes a mistake, or if there's a safety car. We've got enough laps remaining to have another safety car. Snake and Beans and Quito change places, it seems. They did that at turns 1 and 2. And remember as well, with the in Race Spec, top 15 score points, so everyone who is still racing will be scoring something. So there is a small incentive to try and finish, and Black Baller has actually lost a little bit of time. The gap has increased to almost 1 second between him and Mighty Wombat. He's got DRS though, so he'll close in quite a bit here down the main straightaway. Just needs to string a few good laps together to try and take that P2 back. Unfortunately, the rest of the field is pretty well spread out at this point. Got these three relatively close together with Shizant, Jaber and Lakeshow. Lakeshow, I think, had DRS down the main straight, so he's closed in quite a bit and he's on fresh, against fresher, soft compound tyres. Doesn't stop him from losing grip though. He had a whole heap of understeer there at turn 3. Oh, smoke, dust being brought up there. I think it was from Jaber. So Lakeshow got a face full of dust, and here he comes. Jaber gets a shocking run out to turn 5. Probably feeling a little bit of the pressure from the car behind. Maybe the tyres aren't doing too good. Around turn 9, DRS uses a bit of battery. Jaber has DRS himself, but he's quite low on battery. You could tell from the flashing light at the braking zone. So he's in the sort of 10 to 20% range, somewhere in there right now. Towards turn 13, then down the hill, through the chicane. Shizan doesn't get a particularly good run. Jaber closes in, but so does Lakeshow. Down the main straight we go. Lakeshow slots into the slipstream, and look at this, just powers past. Nothing Jaber can do. He closes in on Shizant. Will he go for the double overtake? No. Although he almost hits the McLaren there. But he pulls it up nicely. But when he's looking down the inside, yeah, that wasn't a gap to go through. Unfortunately, he didn't go through it. Into turn 4, he's got to run, but again, he just can't get the move done. It's a nice drive out of 4. Does he go to the inside? Ooh, Shizant sort of half covers. It's nice traction though. Lakeshow draws alongside the McLaren. Around turn 7, they're side by side. Through 8, they're side by side. Up the hill towards turn 9, and Lakeshow goes swooping round the outside. Jaber's got a run though, but he's boxed in with nowhere to go. Shizant goes round the outside of Jaber. Jaber hits the McLaren. They make more contact at the exit of the hairpin. Through turn 11, Jaber spins. He loses control and he puts it into the wall twice. Here comes his teammate Darlotto. He has to be careful. His teammate's got damage. He gets out of the way. Darlotto's into 9th. Lakeshow, I think that's where he's destined to finish. 8.8 seconds between him and Renner. Darlotto gets a penalty. Darlotto is out. He's out. He has crashed. And we have a safety car. We have a late race safety car. There's Darlotto's Alpine. Crashed at the final corner. Oh my goodness. Well then, we're going to have a dramatic ending now, aren't we? A few drivers will come in for tyres, particularly those towards the back. They'll pit for soft tyres. See there, KD on 21 lap old hards. What does he do? Oh, what do you do? He's leading. Does he pit? Does he stay out? He stays out. He takes the track position. Mighty Wombat stays out. Black Baller stays out. JBH might pit. He will. Rafa stays out. Renner might come in. No, doesn't. Interesting. I reckon he had a big enough gap to Lakeshow to actually stay in front of Lakeshow. I don't think he would have lost any track position by pitting. Just because of how slowly everyone's going at the moment. Shizant is in. Fair enough. He's got a big enough gap back to Psycho to do that. Why not? The only trouble is with all these guys at the back, they need to get a hurry. They need to hurry up because the safety car won't stay out on track for too long, and it will go back into the pits regardless if the rest of the field has caught up or not. going to get this fairly interesting finish with the safety car. We've got 5 retirements. And the safety car's in this lap. There you go. No time at all. So Renner probably making the right choice staying out then. See where Lake Show is in P6. He should catch up. Yeah. KD controlling the field. JBH has just given himself a 3-second time penalty in his efforts to try and catch up to the leading group. Lakeshow is now properly caught up, so he can try and get on the attack. KD, you can see the winglets there on the ground from the Alpine. They're still on the racetrack. We're back on the green flag racing, and it's 2 laps to go here in Barcelona. And KD's gotten a pretty nice restart. Renner Jr. has just overtaken Rafa for P4, trying to overtake the lap Snake and Beans as well. Snake and Beans is sort of interfering at the moment, not getting out of the way. Around turn 3, Rafa is close, so is Lake Show, so is JBH. As they head down into turn 4, JBH looking down the inside of Lake Show here. Can he get the position? Yes, he can. He's into P6. Oh, but he's boxed in by Rafa. So Lake Show fires it down the inside. They're side by side on the exit of the hairpin as they head towards turn 7 and 8. So tries to get the position, but instead he spins into the wall. He's still in the race though. He's got a big gap to Shizen, the car behind. Using a fair bit of battery there, JBH. Will he go for it? Will he send it? Oh, he outbrakes himself. Oh, and he loses a whole heap of time as a result. Oh, and Lake Show is spun again. He's on the runoff area at the exit of turn 9. KD on 23 lap old hards. He's got a 6/10 margin to Mighty Wombat. I reckon he's got enough time in hand. The car's behind, just not doing a good enough job to catch up to KD. Darlato has left the session. Down the hill towards turn 1. The gap is 7/10 through the opening chicane. It closes up just a little bit. Around turn 3. Lap car still interfering. I think that is Snake and Beans. Rafa trying to attack Renner here as they exit turn 3. The Brazilian is right behind. Into turn 4 they go. He's right on the gearbox of Renner Jr. Can't attack though into turn 5. He's got one opportunity, and that is the hairpin of turn 10. He'll try and send it, Rafa. But he needs the run. Renner gets a pretty good run. Out of turn 8, around 9 we go. He understeers just a little bit, missing the apex, and he's not close enough to send. Yeah. KD. After the woes of Spa, losing the race win, he's recovered himself nicely here in Barcelona. He will come around the final corner for the 33rd and final time. KD will win the Spanish Grand Prix here in Barcelona. Black Baller will end up taking 2nd place. And Rafa has had a moment in the final chicane, and he drops down to P6. I mean, Renner Jr. will finish P4 and JBH P5. Mighty Wombat will complete the podium in 3rd. Lake Show has got Shizant right behind. With penalties, he should be able to hang on to P7. Not what he would have hoped for, I think. But he still scores points. Shizant P8. Jaber in P9. And I think he'll stay in P9 as well, even with penalties. Psycho will complete the top 10. And we got Flavius in a spin at the final chicane. I think Flavius is set to take 12th place. Looking at the position change, it seems that KD will likely get driver of the day. Started from 10th, he won the race, making up 9 places over the course of the event. So I think he will get driver of the day. And what do you know? Not really that surprising. There we are. Podium Celebrations here in Spain. It's another win for KD, who will extend his championship lead by a healthy amount of points too, with his closest championship rival Mighty Wombat finishing in third. Black Baller will complete the podium. Second place. Nice effort from the McLaren driver. KD has gone back-to-back here in Spain. He won here in Season 5. He's won it again in Season 6. Holding off the likes of Black Ball and Mighty Wombat, who were on fresher, better tyres. A pretty solid effort there from the Mercedes driver. Mighty Wombat also got fastest lap with an 18.5, so he gets that extra point. Outside the top 3 places, we have Renner Jr. in 4th, JBH in 5th, Rafa in P6, Lakeshow in P7, Chisant in 8th, Jebber in 9th, and Psycho rounds out to 10. We've got Laquito, Flavius, and Snake and Beans. Those are our final finishes, so from 18 starters, only 13 finishes. Quite a few drivers getting caught out today. Those drivers being Darlato, Sir Jake, Ice Dev, Noah, and Silent Banshee, all of them retiring at some point during the race. But no, quite an interesting race. We had plenty of battles going on, and we had a late race safety car, which always amps up the drama. Had a couple of safety cars. Always amps up the drama. But at the end of the day, it was KD who made the right calls, and he took the checkered flag, giving him another win in the Americas Series. And like I said before, extend his championship lead. I'll conclude proceedings here in the Americas Series. Yeah, not a bad race. Not a bad one at all. But with everything said and done, it's probably time to end the stream. Tune in throughout the week, as we still got plenty of racing to come here on Race Spec Esports. But for the Americas Series, we'll have to wait until next week. Until then, excuse me, I can't speak anymore. Until then, I've been Lane Everingham. Thank you all so much for watching. And we'll see you for round 8 of the championship. The longest round of the championship. At the Marina Bay Street Circuit for the Singapore Grand Prix. I pray to the racing gods, whoever they are, that it doesn't rain for that race. For any of the Singapore races. Because they're already long enough in the drive, we don't need them to be any longer. But hopefully it will be an interesting race. Singapore, it's always a scene of drama like any street circuit. And because it's a street circuit, qualifying will be important, but unlike Monaco, it's not impossible to make moves. So we won't be absent of overtaking at Singapore. Plus, the soft tyre is awfully good for qualifying, but it's a horrid race tyre. It's a shocking race tyre. So I wouldn't be surprised, like we saw today at Spain, a few drivers try and set times on the mediums. So, well, with everything said and done, time to wrap everything up. Until next time, it's goodbye.